Welcome to EPG Pathashala. This is Professor Abdul Sattar, Department of Philosophy, SV University, Tirupati. Today's module is on Sikhism under the paper Indian Religion and Philosophy. In this module, we are going to learn about the objectives, introduction to Sikhism, 10 gurus who played an epoch-making role in shaping Sikhism as a religion, and about the sacred book Guru Granth Sahib and the basic features of Sikhism, God in Sikhism, man in Sikhism, world according to Sikhism, evil and suffering according to Sikhism, and life after death and human destiny. And before we learn about these objectives, first of all, as an introduction, let us understand about Sikhism. Sikhism is one of the religions of latest religions of India. It has originated on this soil and flourishes for the most part on this soil itself, although Sikh people spread all over the world as permanent settlers and as temporary earning members. The rise of Sikhism is seen by many as a reaction against Hinduism and Islam. Guru Nanak, the great poet of Sant tradition and the founder of Sikhism, the founder of Guru tradition in Sikhism, is reported to have said the statement, neither Veda nor the Kitab, namely Quran, know the mystery. This statement of Guru Nanak shows the dissatisfaction of him with regard to Hinduism and Islam. And this explains why he thought it necessary to impart new knowledge to people. This is the reason why he tried his best to develop the canonical script, namely Guru Granth Sahib. With this introduction, let us look into Sikhism, since it took its rise in the Punjab in the 5th century. At present, it has assumed great importance on the Indian soil. Sikhism is Hinduistic in the sense that it accepts the fourfold principles of karma, samsara, jnana, mukti. Sikhism was born at a time when India was in a state of political upheaval, social instability, and religious ritualism, externalism without much inner illumination and spiritual experience in depth. Sikhism, at the hands of first Guru named Nanak, was not primarily a political movement. From the social point of view, it was founded on the rejection of caste and promoted egalitarianism. Nanak was essentially a religious reformist movement in the direction of Sant poets of India. Kabir appears to be a contemporary of Guru Nanak. Guru Granth Sahib is the sacred book of the Sikhs. It contains 4 poems of Trilochana, 62 of Namadeva, 240 Sakis, and 227 Padas of Kabir. Most of the characteristic teachings of Sikhism are monotheism, crusade against idol worship, caste, external ritualism, etc. The term Guru is to be understood for the first 10 Gurus and for Adi Granth Sahib. Sikh is really derived from the word Shishya. Hence, Sikhism is the religion of 10 gurus and their followers, Shishyas. The Sikh is one who is willing to lay down his life for the sake of his guru. Guru Nanak was the real founder of Sikhism, born in 1469 in a village called Talwandi, some 50 miles southwest of Lahore. Guru Nanak was advised his followers to resist evil, even to the point of sacrifice and martyrdom. Guru Hargobind Singh guided on two words, Miri to defend and pursue political end, and Piri for safeguarding spiritual pursuit. Guru Gobind Singh, who infused a martial spirit into his Sikh followers, called Khalsa, and who were to be called Singh. The 10 gurus, starting with Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, Guru Nanak, the first of the gurus, Guru Angad, Guru Amardas, Guru Ramdas, Guru Arjan Dev, Guru Hargobind, Guru Hari Roy, Guru Hari Krishna, Guru Tej Bahadur, and the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. Guru Granth Sahib is the holy book of Sikhs. Guru Granth Sahib was composed in 1604 by Guru Arjan Dev, who was assisted by the great devotee Bhai Gurudas. It was written in Gurumukhi script. It includes verses of Ramananda, Jayadeva, Namadeva, Trilochana, Veni, Dhanna, Pipa, Sain, Kabir, Raidas, Sheikh Bikhaja, Sadhana, Surdas, Puna, Nane, and of Muslim Sufis. 243 to 245 Sakhis and 227 Padas of Kabir have been included in the Guru Granth Sahib. As we have seen in this part of this module, we have understood that Sikhism is the latest religions of the world. It has originated in the Indian soil and flourishes on the same soil, though all Sikh people are spread all over the world and as bread earners and also permanent settlers. The rise of Sikhism is seen by many as a reaction against Hinduism and Islam. Guru Nanak, the great poet of Sant tradition and the founder of Sikhism, showed a kind of dissatisfaction with regard to Hinduism and Islam, though he was influenced by both of these. And Sikhism, to some extent, is seen by many as an attempt at reconciling Hinduism with Islam. But there is hardly any evidence of any much significance that from taken from Islam. And the author MacLeod says in this connection, it is accordingly incorrect to interpret the religion of Sikhism as a synthesis of both Hinduism and Islam. It is indeed a synthesis, but in which elements of Islam are relatively unimportant with regard to the development of Sikhism. Guru Nanak, as we know, was born by birth as a Hindu. His faith was influenced by Islam. But it is very difficult, however, to say about the intensity or degree of this influence. MacLeod is of the opinion that Islam influence clearly, evidently seen in the thought of Guru Nanak, but in no way can we accord the influence in any significant manner with regard to the fundamental aspects of Guru Nanak's philosophy of Sikhism. These observations, if we consider these observations, it may not be, it can be said that Hinduism, Sikhism is a product of both the reconciliation of Hinduism and Islam, but it is still, we can say, it is nearer to Hinduism than to Islam. Now, with this, let us look into the basic features of Sikhism. Sikhism is wholly an Indian religion in the sense that its followers were all Indian origin. Its religious scriptures and teachers are wholly Hindu and hardly Muslim. Sikhism fully subscribes to the fourfold principles of karma, samsara, jnana, mukti. Unlike any other form of Hinduism, it enjoins upon the Sikhs to fight against social injustice and in defense of one's faith. Sikhism teaches strict monotheism. Its monotheism might have been strengthened by the Islamic influence upon it, but it is primarily an outcome of the personal experience of Sikh gurus themselves. The oneness of God is emphasized by all of them with one voice. The one and only one, Supreme God, is regarded as creator, sustainer and destroyer of the world. References to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are there in Sikhism, but these references are regarded as creations of God Himself, and they do not got any independent status of their own. Creation is neither ex nihilo nor from materials living outside God. It is the result of divine self-revelation. God has revealed or manifested Himself in the form of the world, but His being is not exhausted in this world alone. He goes beyond it. God is thus both immanent and transcendent. As the inner dweller of the world, He is immanent. But as externally existing even before creation and as creator of the world, He is also transcendent to it. He is also transcendent in the sense of being incomprehensible. Sikhism is marked out as a guru-centered religion much more than any other Indian tradition. Even God is called Vahiguru. The scripture of Guru Granth Sahib is called Gurumukhi because it is calculated to make the Sikhs God word instead of becoming self or self-centered, Manmukhi. There is the vow of 5 Ks, that is a keeping of long hair, Kesha, of head and face, iron bracelet, and Kucha, Kanga, and Kripan, sword. These 5 Ks are very important from the point of view of Sikh identity. In consonance with strict monotheism, Sikhism does not admit Avataravada. Sikhism admits that there is only one God, Ek Omkara, unmanifest, and also Omkara, in manifest form, with an infinite number of attributes. Sikhism is against caste, idol worship, ritualism, and external observances. Sikhism prescribes bhakti for the gaining release, and there is also a strong feature of saint poets like Dadu, Ravidas, and Kabir. Sikhism does not teach that either Hinduism or Islam is wrong. Sikhism favors local language and its script is Gurumukhi. Sikhism is against caste, idol worship, ritualism and external observances. Sikhism teaches that Maya is the creative manifestation of God, but it is also the source of 5 traditional evils in man, namely Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha and Ahankara. These can be removed through prayer, meditation and social service. Nama Simran, constant uttering of God's name with a complete surrender to God has been emphasized by Guru Nanak. Sikhism prescribes bhakti for gaining release, and this is also a strong feature of Sant poets like Dadu, Ravidas and Kabir. Guru Nanak does not recommend sannyasa as a means of mukti. He himself was a householder and considered the life of a householder as very important in society. Like Kabir, Sikhism is beyond both Hinduism, that is Vedic, and Islam. With regard to basic features of Sikhism, we can understand that Sikhism is basically a monotheistic religion. It is monotheistic in the sense that it has got the influence of Islam with regard to the oneness of God or divine unity on Sikhism. But there are people, there are persons who deny this kind of influence on Sikhism because and there are people who admit the Sikhism as a product of reconciling Hinduism with Islam. And also, it also admits the concept of God as a supreme or omnipotent God who is the creator, sustainer and destroyer of the world. Reference with regard to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are there in Sikhism, but these references are made by God himself. They are not so important with regard to the status it gives in the Sikhism. But whereas in Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are nothing but the manifestations of the one ultimate reality, that Brahman. But here, these three have got no independent existence of their own. And the creation, in the sense, is ex nihilo, neither ex nihilo nor from materials lying outside God. Creation is the result of God's revelation. God has manifested, God has revealed in the form of world. That's why God is immanent in this world and also transcendent. And man, the God is transcendent in the sense he is beyond this world. Immanent in this world, as an indweller of this universe, he is immanent in this world, since he is manifested in different forms in this world. It is I think, this is nothing but the influence of Hinduism on Sikhism. Why? Because in the Rig Veda, there is, in the Purusha Sukta, we have a clear evidence that Brahman, the 1,000-headed and 1,000-eyed, 1,000 legs Purusha, 1/3 of a Purusha transformed into this world, manifested into this world. The remaining part is in heaven. Like this, here also in Sikhism, we can see this, God is the inner dweller of the world, and the remaining is beyond this world. After understanding the basic features of Sikhism, let us understand God in Sikhism in detail. Sikhism teaches strict monotheism, as we have understood now. There is only one God, but he can be conceived both as unattributed and attributed. In the unattributed form, he is called Ek Omkara. In the attributed form, he is called Omkara. In reality, Nirguna and Saguna, attributed Brahman as or one and the same. Guru Nanak calls Saguna Brahman the object of worship, devotion by various names of Kartar, Creator, Akal, Eternal, and the Holy Name. The Supreme Reality has also been called Maker or Creator. Hence, he is endowed with will and intellect. Parama Brahma is also Omkara. Saguna Brahma or Ishvara. Thus, the same Supreme Reality is both formless and with form. As Ishvara, he becomes an object of worship and devotion. In this respect, he is known as a kind of benevolent, Dayalu and Kripalu. And as a formless, he is called Satnama, Nirakshara, Akala, and Eternal. Lord, as an object of devotion, is invested with Maya, which is the manifesting and creative power of God. Guru Nanak conceals the real nature of God, and man, under the influence of Maya, becomes a victim of the five evils known as Indian thought, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, and Ahankara. This is really the enslavement of man and his bondage from which he is to be freed. Otherwise, he will be in the endless chain of miserable rebirths. Man can be free himself only with the grace of God, and for this he has to engage himself in prayer, meditation, and selfless service to mankind. Guru Nanak calls Saguna Brahman the object of worship and devotion by various names of Kartar, Creator, Akal, Eternal, Sattanama, Holy Name. Guru Nanak has also used the name Allah, Khuda, Parvardigar, the Cherisher, and the Sahib, Lord. He has also used the various names of God used in Puranic Bhakti like Rama, Gopala, Murari, Narayana, Madhava. Why has Guru Nanak used so many appellations concerning God? As personal God, he is the savior of his seekers. If we sincerely seek him, then by bestowing his grace, the Lord frees his devotees from the shackles of Maya. The highest end of man is God realization, whether through samadhi or through bhakti. Here, by understanding the concept of God in Sikhism, let us understand God, once again, God is the supreme being, the omnipotent, the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the world. And God has manifested, he has transformed himself into this world. But being transformed into this world, he is not exhausted by this transformation. He is beyond this world. And that's the reason why creation is fully real. Because God is real. God, here, creation is the expression of God. So, it is real. With this, let us move to concept of man in Sikhism. Man, no doubt, is an embodied soul. Not the body, but the soul is immortal. This soul, apart from the body, is said to be a spark from the burning light of God. At times, the embodied soul called man has been compared to the water of the ocean in a glass. This glass is only the container, but the water is of the same nature as the ocean. Unless liberation is won, man will keep on transmigrating in endless bursts attended with suffering. Man falls into five evils of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, and Ahankara. As long as these five evils are not removed, man will continue to suffer in the endless cycles of countless rebirths. Man has twofold nature, Because of the pure spirit of God within him, there is a tendency within him to move Godward, Gurumukha. But there is also a tendency in him to continue in the worldly pleasure. A remedy lies in the surrender of one's will to the will of God. But who is responsible for human humai, that is, the state of bondage of the soul by the five evils of lust, greed, attachment, anger, and egoism? Sikhism further maintains the equality of all men, brotherhood of the Sikhs, and the rejection of caste. And with regard to this creation, let us understand, as we have understood earlier, creation is real, is fully real, because God is real. The world, the creation is the expression of God. So, the God has expressed himself into this world, or God has manifested, God has revealed into this world in different forms. And taking this Sikhism got influenced by Hinduism. At the time of creation, God has created this world out of Maya. And also, God has created this world out of his own will. And Sikhism also was influenced by Hinduism with regard to this creation of the world. And let us go into the details of the world in Sikhism, how world is regarded by Sikhism. At the beginning, there was utter darkness. There was neither the earth nor the sky, neither the day nor the night. God remained in his own being. Then he created the world and entered into it. As is also given in the Upanishad, God sustains this world. Mere command of God has brought the world into being. The world, according to Sikh religion, is the creation of God. God has neither created world ex nihilo nor out of material lying beside him. The entire world is the product of the divine will, divine order, hukum. All forms and colors of the world are from God and from nowhere. By thy hukum, thy didn't create all forms. The world is the revelation or manifestation of God. It is also called the light of God. Hence, God may be regarded in Sikhism as both the efficient and the material cause of the world. However, there seems to be a difference among Sikh thinkers on the point whether God is to be regarded as the material cause of the world, and if at all, he may be so regarded in what exact sense. Some believe that God has, of course, not created the world ex nihilo, out of nothing, nor has he created it out of materials lying over and above him. But then, according to them, God cannot be said to have created the world out of the material of his own being. They emphasize that the whole has come simply out of divine order, that it is the product of hukum, and it cannot be said that the material of the world has come out of God's being. Others believe that God has really manifested or expressed his own being in the form of the world, although he is not totally exhausted. He is both immanent in the world as well as transcendent to it. Although God reveals his own being in the form of freedom of the world, creator, he is also lies beyond it. The whole world is wonderful creation of God and shows his power and glory. This will strongly remind one of Psalm 19 singing the glory of creation. Guru Nanak says that the ignorant or the foolish people do not heed the voice of God revealed in his creation, but Sadguru teaches that God is omnipresent and He indwells in everybody and in everything. Those who turn to God find the world to be wonderful creation of the world, Lord, and His Leela, sports. This knowledge of the dependence of the world on God and His Leela fills the devotee with admiration and praise for the Lord and helps his devotion to Him. Sikhism admits that the world is a creation. God is the Karta, creator. He has created the world because of the creative power of Maya. This Maya concealed the real nature of God, and as a result of this ignorance, man becomes manmukhi and falls into the 5 evils of lust, anger, infatuation, greed and egoity. No doubt, a creator God is beset with this difficulty. Whether God creates out of nothing or with the 5 elements, because of His Leela in the form of His Maya, He becomes the responsible, at least in the part of the evil and suffering of man. In Guru Granth Sahib, a few lines of Kabir have been included, according to which there are 4 states of liberated soul, namely gaining of heavenly abode, nearness with God, similarity with the God, and fellowship with God. These 4 kinds of final destiny have been maintained by Ramanuja in Indian Vedantic tradition. Again, in these very lines, it is said that one reality appears to be many, but finally, manyness is absorbed in the non-dual reality. This metaphor of reflection is really Advaitic, which supports the theory of emergence into Nirguna Brahman as the final destiny of liberated soul. Hence, the Sikh writing supports both the doctrine of conservation of individual souls and also at the times the doctrine of absorption into Nirguna Brahman. Sikhism accepts the theory of karma and transmigration. Even if a man does good work in this life, but without devotion, then he has to take birth in the next life. He will not get such khanda, but must undergo purgation after death. Such a person has to work again for the either emergence or Sachkhand. But as long as he does not have God realization, he will have to undergo many rebirths. If man does evil, his punishment will be severe. After the punishment, he will take birth into lower animals. Then again, going through the windmill of countless transmigrations, he will be reborn as a man. After having the priceless birth as a man, he has to work out his salvation by prayers, meditation, and self-surrender to God. The Sikh discipline is very crucial in the development of Sikh as a religion. We have seen earlier that the principal vice according to Sikhism is self-centeredness or egoism. This consists in being attached to 5 evil passions. Hence, the Sikh discipline mainly consists in cleansing the mana or the Atman of these evil passions so that one may get rid of egoism and self-centered humai and becomes God-centered. For this, Nanak has propounded a path of sadhana. This sadhana consists firstly in recognizing that God is present in all creation, particularly in human Atman, that He is the only reality to be adored. When one fully recognizes this fact and becomes fully conscious of His truth, the next step is to meditate on divine qualities with sincere devotion and love towards God. Through such meditation, the mana is gradually cleansed of the evil passions and man becomes free from the humai, the self-centeredness, egoism. Namasmaran, that is repeating of God's name, is also given a very important place in Sikh religion. But mere mechanical repeating of name is decreed by Sikh gurus. As a matter of fact, Sikhism denies efficacy and value of all that is external and mechanical. It also denounces pilgrimage, holy bath, etc. These are done without a pure and loving heart. Thus, Namasmaran is a value only when one repeats God's name with full love and devotion. the name must come from the heart and not merely from the lips. Besides Namasimran, Sikhism also prescribes bhajan and kirtan, that is, corporate singing of the praise of God as the ways to salvation. But in every such devotional act, inwardness of heart and purity of mana are emphasized. Sikhism is opposite to anything that is mere external ritualism. If the mana is unclean, how can it be purified by worshipping stones, visiting places of pilgrimage, living in jungles, wandering around as an ascetic? Thus, idol worship, asceticism, pilgrimage, etc. are all ridiculed by Sikhism. It is a religion of inward discipline and not external hypocritical practices. It is strictly opposed to hypocrisy. There is no use of visiting places of pilgrimage. The true Tirath, place of pilgrimage, is within. True religion is inward and finds shape in loving devotion. All this is mere hypocrisy which has no place in religion. Sikhism, as we have understood, has given more importance to the worldly life. It is a world-affirming philosophy. And it is not world-denying philosophy. And Guru Gobind Singh has initiated many principles in order to avoid these 5 kleshas, 5 cases of, and also how we can purge off the evils of egoism, kama, krodha, lobha, moha. All these 5 evils are to be purged off in order to get salvation. And also, apart from this, salvation is not possible without God's grace and Guru's help. Basically, Sikhism is a religion of Gurus, and also belief in the Guru Granth Sahib. Here, Guru Granth Sahib is a scripture, is named after Guru. Wherever you go in the Gurudwaras, the Guru Granth Sahib is kept on the desk as a Guru. And with this, let us look into different sects of Sikhism. Sikhism is a revelatory new religion, as we have understood, and has given rise to so many sects which differ from one another on certain basic religious points. But still, certain groups have distinguished themselves from the common stock on certain points, basic or otherwise. There are, for example, Namadharis, Akalis, Nirankaris, and Nanakpanthis. The Namadharis are the Puritans among the Sikhs. They basically observe the same religious principles of Sikhism, but they are Puritans in their approach. They emphasize utmost purity and cleanliness and strictly observe such practices as abstaining from smoking, drinking, etc., and definitely taking perfect bath in the morning and observing other sacred rituals. Further, they abstain from meat eating also, although meat eating also allowed in Sikhism by Guru Gobind Singh. The Akalis are basically the militant group within Sikhism. There is hardly any religious reference between them and the common stock. They are in a sense fanatics among the Sikhs who fight for the cause of their faith and religion. In modern India, Akalis are mainly recognized as forming a political group of Sikhs. The Nirankaris are a special group formed around one Guru Bachan Singh, who declared himself to be a guru and the carrier of God's message. He was popularly known as Nirankari Baba. It will be remembered that the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, declared he to be the last Guru and ordered that after him, only the Adi Granth, the Guru Granth Sahib, will play the role of a Guru. There will be no human Guru after him. And the Sikhs solemnly accept this declaration and order But the above mentioned Nirankari Baba revolted against it and called himself a guru. It is all such who flock around him, accept his calm, are called Nirankaris. The common stock of Sikh is also very much opposed to this group. Nanak-panthis are those who do not take being a member of the Khalsa or carrying the 5 Ks as essential Sikh duties. They rather take treading sincerely on the path shown by the original Guru Nanak to be the essential Sikh duty, and nothing else is necessarily required. Many Sikhs, therefore, do not recognize the Nanak-panthis as Sikhs, and consequently, they have shown the tendency to melt away in Hinduism. Finally, let us have a look at the Sikh quotes. There is neither Hindu nor Mussalman, so whose path shall I follow? I shall follow God's path. God is neither Hindu nor Mussalman. Guru Nanak. Same are the temple and the mosque, and same are the forms of worship therein. All human beings are one, though apparently many. Realize, therefore, the essential unity of mankind. Guru Gobind Singh, Dasam Granth. As a concluding remark, we can say that as far as this module is concerned, we have understood Sikhism as one of the latest religions of the world. It has originated on the Indian soil and flourishes for the most part on this soil, and we have also understood Sikhism as a religion which is a product of an attempt at reconciling Hinduism and Islam. And also we have understood Sikhism is developed out of strong, against Hinduism and Islam. Though the Guru Nanak was influenced by both Hinduism and Islam, there were no significant evidences to say that this Sikhism is a product of any one of the religions, namely Hinduism and Islam. We can say, in the concluding remark, Sikhism is a synthesis of Hinduism and Islam. And sometimes we can say it is more nearer to Hinduism than Islam, in the sense that it has accepted God as both Nirguna and Saguna. It has accepted the concept of Maya, which is the power God has created this world, and also life after death, and many more things. Now, one more thing, the more particular about Sikhism is, Sikhism is a life-affirming, world-affirming religion. It does not deny the world as a place one should try to always escape, but it is a place. On the other hand, according to Sikhism, it is a place where one has to perform or engage in righteous action. That's the reason why Har Gobind Singh has given us a beautiful, sayings in the form of Sikh principles that every day, every Sikh has to follow as a basic righteous actions in their daily life. Thank you very much.